Was the NFC East the most disappointing division in the NFL last year? I'd say so. Everybody regressed. Let's talk about them. Hey guys, Dig Support here, back to another video. And in the NFC East, we went from a division that had the two teams that were in the conference championship game the year before to only one team making the playoffs, and that team losing in the first round. Talk about regression. Let's just break these teams down. I got nothing more to say. Starting with the Cowboys, I just have a question of what's next for you. I really have no idea, and my biggest issue right now is they have negative $56 million in cap space. Negative $56 million. That's the worst out of all the teams in the NFL. Not just the worst in the division, not just the worst in the NFC, the worst out of everyone in the NFL. They need to make a lot of space, and they got to do that quickly. George Pickens, they put the franchise tag on him, and it's going to cost a lot, but after the season that he had, he kind of deserved the franchise tag while they try to figure out a long-term deal. Now, whether he plays on the tag or they get a long-term deal done, that remains to be seen, or maybe they trade George Pickens to another team if they get a deal that they can't refuse. I don't know. And my biggest question with this is, what's next for the Cowboys? What is next for the Cowboys? They have two picks in the top 20. They're the 20th overall pick, and they had the 12th overall pick. They got the 20th overall pick from the Micah Parsons trade. And again, I just don't know what's next because this is really a team that I can't predict. I can't predict because they could be a good team. They could. They have the necessary pieces around them, but they need more. Now, they still have a good quarterback in Dak Prescott. Even if they don't have George Pickens back, you still have CD Lamb. You still have good players on this team, but it's not enough. Will they make the necessary moves? Now, one of the biggest positions they need to figure out, linebacker. Logan Wilson was cut. Kenneth Murray is a free agent, which is kind of a good thing because their linebacking core was not great last year. The edge position, Jadeveon Clowney and Dante Fowler, they're both free agents, and really, they don't have that impact player. And they just saw one of their former edge rushers, DeMarcus Lawrence, win a Super Bowl ring with the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, that had to be tough to watch for Cowboys fans. Then also corner. Trayvon Diggs was cut late in the season. So right now, kind of in this limbo right now with the defense. I just mentioned positions at all three levels on the defense. That's really where they need a lot of help with. Miles Sanders is also free agent. You also look at Peyton Turner, Donovan Wilson, Robert Jones, Jalen Tolbert, and Corey Ballantyne. There's a lot the Cowboys need to work on, and we're going to see what they do. This is really a tough one to figure out with the Cowboys, but who knows? You know, Jerry Jones always seems to have something up his sleeve, so we'll see what they do. But first things first, they got to get below the cap, because $56 million, yeah, that's a lot. I'm just going to start this off by saying I'm not shocked John Harbaugh got another job after he was let go by the Ravens. I'm not shocked by that at all. Nobody should have been shocked. But what I will say is, can he get the Giants back to winning football games? That's the biggest question. To be honest, I don't have the answer just yet. We're going to have to wait until the games start. But there's a lot of work to do with the Giants right now. One position they don't have to worry about, quarterback. Jackson Dart had a very good rookie season. He is going to be their quarterback for the time being. And I was high on him going into the draft. So I'm just happy that he had as good of a rookie season as he did. But will that mean he is the franchise guy? We shall see. Two offensive linemen are free agents, even though the offensive line wasn't that great. So they do have to improve that if they want Dart to be as good as they think he can be. They had the 5th overall pick, so maybe they get the top offensive lineman in the draft. This is going to be a really good draft for offensive linemen. They get the top guy. That's going to be great for them. They also have a need at corner. Got to get that figured out. Also linebacker. They could definitely use some help there as well. For the Giants, it's just, I wrote, new coach, new results. Russell Wilson's going to be a free agent. He was their starter going into 2025, and then Jackson Dart took over. I don't know what's going to happen with Wilson. Maybe he stays another year. Maybe he just calls it quits. Greg Van Roten is a free agent. Wan'Dale Robinson, that is the big one. Robinson is going to have a big market for him. He had a good season last year. Actually, he had a great season last year. Probably was the Giants' best offensive player for most of the season. So he's definitely going to have a market. We'll see where he's going to go. Starting tight end, Daniel Bellinger is a free agent. Isaiah Hodgins is also a free agent. That's another one of their receivers. And then defensive lineman Victor DiMcKenzie is a free agent as well. For the Giants, this is really, let's see what we can do. Let's get as many pieces as we can and just try to improve this team. And maybe we can make a run at the playoffs, maybe we can't, but we have to get this team back on track. And hopefully they can do that. Okay, you know what's crazy about the Eagles? The last 4 years have been make the Super Bowl, falter late in the year, win the Super Bowl, falter late in the year. They alternate between Super Bowl and faltering late in the season, just collapsing. How? Just how? That's just weird. So are we expecting them to get back to the Super Bowl in 2026? I don't know. But what I do know is there are questions whether A.J. Brown's going to be on this team much longer. And it seems like if ever there was going to be a time that they decided to trade him, this would be the offseason to do it. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they trade him, maybe they don't. But it's not going to stop the rumors from swirling on that until we get a definitive answer. They got the 23rd overall pick. They have $13 million in cap space. So you're hoping somebody falls to them and they need to free up some space. Tight end, Dallas Goedert is a free agent. They have to figure out what they're going to do with that position. Do they get him back, or do they go looking for somebody at free agency or in the draft? Reed Blankenship is also a free agent. Have to shore up that secondary, okay? With Blankenship being a free agent, that was their starting safety. What are they going to do at the safety position? Are they going to try to re-sign him or not? Jalen Phillips is a free agent. Okay, they got him from Miami during the season. Probably want to have some more depth at the edge position. Also, Nakobe Dean's going to be a free agent. Brandon Mann, who's their punter, is a free agent. Adoree Jackson in the secondary is a free agent. Sam Howell, their back quarterback, he's going to be a free agent. Well, about one of the backups. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. I mean, he did start for the Commanders 1 year. Could be interesting to see what team picks him up. And Jahan Dotson, one of the receivers one of their reserve receivers, he's going to be a free agent as well. This is really an interesting case with the Philadelphia Eagles because they faltered at the end. And this could be a good time to just reload the team and really set themselves up for the future even more. And Howard Roseman just does a really good job with the Philadelphia Eagles and what he needs to do at the moment. So we're definitely going to see what Roseman does with his track record. He could really do some good. And I forgot to mention one other safety, Marcus Epps is also a free agent. So that's why I also mentioned safety. Losing both Blankenship and Eames. Have to figure out what they're going to do there. Probably the most shocking development last year was the downward trajectory of the Washington Commanders. After making the conference championship game the year before, after their loss to the Chicago Bears, the team just collapsed. Just absolutely collapsed. Now the good news is they can rebuild rather quickly or reload rather quickly because they have $71 million in cap space. And hopefully all their guys are healthy and ready to go next year, especially quarterback Jaden Daniels, who was suffering from multiple elbow injuries last year. Hopefully he's 100% healthy by the time the season starts, and hopefully they can keep him up as the season goes on. And they also have the 7th overall pick, which they could do just about anything with that pick. They have a lot of needs, especially with linebacker and Bobby Wagner being a free agent. He's going to be 36 by the start of next year. So even if he is back, they have to figure out what they're going to do at that position because Wagner is the leader of that defense and he's the guy that was calling the plays. That's going to be a big question mark for them. At wide receiver, you had Deebo Samuel, who is a free agent. You need somebody to complement Terry McLaurin, maybe even potentially replace McLaurin down the line because McLaurin is on the other side of 30 right now. You have to wonder how much he's got left in the tank, and he was injured last year as well. At running back, everybody except one player is a free agent. That includes Austin Eckler and Chris Rodriguez. Those two guys are free agents, and Washington has to figure out what they're going to do with that running back position. Like I said, only one guy is left once free agency starts. At defensive back, definitely going to need help there. The edge position didn't really have much of an edge rusher presence the Washington Commanders did last year. Definitely want to make sure you find somebody there. And then tight end. Zach Ertz is a free agent, and he has a serious knee injury that he got late in the season. He could just call it a career, and Washington needs to figure out who is going to be that starting tight end next year. And I mentioned a lot of free agents. Well, I mentioned Wagner, Eckler, Rodriguez, Samuel, and Ertz. Their center is a free agent. Marcus Mariota is going to be a free agent. Probably the top backup quarterback on the market this free agency. Von Miller's a free agent. Jonathan Jones, Dietrich Wise, Noah Igbenogany, and another one of the backup quarterbacks, the guy that ended up finishing the season, Josh Johnson, the journeyman himself. It's going to be interesting to see if Johnson ends up continuing his career or if he just decides to call it. But with the Washington Commanders, they can definitely reload and they can definitely get back to the playoffs in 2026. They got a lot of work to do. And like I said, they do have $71 million in cap space. They have the 7th overall pick. But again, you only have a 3rd round pick after that. And then everything else is day 3 for your draft picks. And you do have a lot of needs that need to be filled. So Washington, they have a lot of decisions to make. And do they continue to go with veterans or do they try to bring in some young guys as well? That's the biggest thing with the Commanders right now. This is a big offseason for them, and we're going to see what happens there. Alright guys, those are my thoughts on the NFC East. Next is going to be the AFC North, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.